Welcome to Australia. Yes, you want it's fine, but this is a test cricket. Chin's a direct lunch. And all of a sudden, they're like, well, screw you. I mean, Pakistan are probably going to win unless it rains today. The forecast's not great, so pardon me. Cheers to tears. Heartbreak for the 17s as refs' controversial shootout decision robs O'Brien's Young Guns of semi-final chance. And then Robbie Henshaw could be out for the rest of the season with his knee injury. Tom Parsons undergoes extensive tests, but Mayo boosted by the fitness of Lee Keegan. Now, more than ever, Mayo need Lee Keegan to come riding to their rescue because Jim McGuinness's piece, here we go, Sport Tuesday, Jim McGuinness's piece here is like basically Mayo have no plan and no clue, and you wouldn't be terribly surprised they're actually primed to go out.
Actually have an All-Ireland tilt just yet. They're actually well off the mark where they should be in May. But then you get on to Mayo and it's like they are in huge jeopardy of crashing out in the qualifiers. Something that I didn't really believe. But there's a couple of things that McGuinness points out in his column today, just in terms of the way they approached the game, in terms of the way they were just happy enough to take pot shots in a huge game in the Connacht Championship, that suggests that if they come up against a similar sort of defence in the qualifiers, they could be in big, big trouble, especially if they're on the road.
Yeah, and they're more likely to come up against in the qualifiers. The Dubs don't quite have that same level of defensive structure. They've got a different defensive structure, and they're actually happy to go, yeah, go on, sure, go off there. But he's basically saying that it's a bunch of individuals in Mayo and that they don't have an established style or pattern that is worthy of the name of a style or pattern, whereas Galway are beginning to evolve theirs. They're still making a few mistakes and their defensive intensity isn't quite as good as it should be. But it did put me in mind of the Ask Me Tank .wordpress.com website last year, where this guy at Delta Bravo 64 on Twitter, how to write GAA articles just like Jim McGuinness in 4 easy steps, and some of it's absolutely brilliant.
It's an article worth checking out. Is one on Kerry Pundit as well, particularly good. We need to get Delta Bravo back on the GAA writing scene. Just do another explainer on Jim McGuinness, 4 more steps. Like he could write 100 steps and they'd all be funny.
Now that he's back from China, 4 different steps.
4 different steps, exactly. More from Delta Bravo, please. That's my only wish for the GAA summer.
So I'm just going to give you the titles of these 4 sections. 1, set the scene. You're obviously an international jet-setting sports guru, so the thoughts on which you base your musings will no doubt have to come to you while mulling over a decaf latte in Schiphol or Charles de Gaulle Airport. This week it's Glasgow. Part 2, it's tough at the top. Fair enough, you're a jet setter, but it isn't easy getting to watch the match of which you intend to proffer your opinion on from a tactical viewpoint. Don't be shy about telling your reader the difficulties of getting good Wi-Fi in a hotel near the shores of Lake Victoria, at which you're running a leadership symposium entitled How to Lead from the Back and Up the Middle, but not the Front. Part 3, that when I was in charge of Donegal bit.
There is one. There is when I was in
Donegal, we put a huge emphasis on anticipate the anticipator, but from 4 years of age, players are taught to focus on the man on the ball, although it's actually thought to focus on the man on the ball. Your attention is drawn to what you perceive as being the threat and is about to hurt you. The third man runner, the real danger, could be 15 metres away, about to take off. For me, it is the most difficult attack to defend against in Gaelic football. That's the real Jim McGuinness, not the parody Jim McGuinness.
Anticipate the anticipator sounds like the tagline for a really bad Tom Cruise movie, but I'm sure Jim McGuinness will get into movie directing very soon, so I'm sure that's what he's working on.
I know, fair play to him. He's bringing a new level of thought and depth to GAA analysis.
Look, he is. I'm not denying that. It can similarly be the tagline for a bad movie. Like, let's not forget that here. Is that it?
Oh, is that it? No, there's some more stuff. The Examiner, we blew it. O'Sullivan still haunted by sideline mistakes in All-Ireland semi-loss to Daisha. That's obviously... was it the semi-final? Was it really their fault last year? I don't know. On the sideline. I just don't think Cork were ready yet.
No, pretty much. I mean... We're not. Was it a double sending off? They'd on the game when Conor Gleeson gets sent off for the helmet incident. They'd on the game or the hurl incident. I can't quite recall the details of that game. It was the Austin Gleeson goal that won that game, not really the deficiencies of the Cork.
Austin Gleeson goal's good. Jamie Barron. And Triple Crown every day this week. There's been a story about Aidan O'Brien or Dermot Weld on the front of the Racing Post. Again, just showing that Irish racing is killing it in England.
They're leading with the under-17s on the back of the Herald this morning. Robbed is the headline. Czech ref sends off Irish hero after a save to keep side in dramatic penalty shootout. You've also got Parsons in comeback Mayo vow, and Wicklow slammed Dubs tie switch. So this is the Wicklow County Board, and John Evans complaining that the Leinster quarter-final against Dublin is not being held in Aughrim, obviously, after the GAA confirmed the title will be played in Portlaoise on May 27th. If Offaly had won that game on Sunday, the game would have been played in Tullamore, so Wicklow aren't happy about that inconsistency. On the back of the Mirror this morning, they're going with Red Rage. Angry Ireland boss O'Neill confronts ref after under-17 keeper is sent off in shootout. And it's all over for Big Sam, it says here. Everton boss will be sacked in 48 hours. So the former Hull and Watford boss, Marco Silva, you can see inset there on the back page, is set to take over at Everton, which would be an outstanding appointment from an Everton perspective.
Does he keep Wayne Rooney? Because the Rooney deal are trying to get done before they fire Big Sam, so the new manager doesn't have the tarnish of having got rid of Wayne Rooney. Wayne is like, oh, well, if Big Sam's not going to be here, I'm sticking around.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Marco Silva would tolerate that level of crap, to be honest. The kind of judging your future on a club based on a manager is fair enough, but it seems like Rooney has got his head inflated to the point where he thinks he is back up to an elite level of striker in the Premier League, which he's not. He has got to be content with being a 15 game a season starting Premier League striker at best. And Marco Silva, you've seen some of the signings he's made in the past for Watford especially, and they've been outstanding. With a bit more of a profile in the club, with a bit more of a budget, as you'd imagine Everton would have, he can definitely sign a striker better than Wayne Rooney. So it'll be exciting times for Everton if Silva does take the job there. On the back of the Irish Daily Star this morning, they're going up to 17s as well. Scandalous, reads the punchy headline here. Farcical scenes as Irish keeper sent off during shootout. Dutch had been warned twice, and O'Neill storms to pitch to confront the referee. You've also got nice one Centurion. That's Kevin O'Brien, and Blue Steel, that's Manchester City's champions bus there yesterday. It's also worth pointing out that Eamon Dunphy has written an exclusive column as a result of last night's scandal.
For the newspaper that he writes a column for.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So it's fair play on getting him to actually put pen to paper. Common sense went out the window.
Answer the phone.
Yeah, so common sense went out the window. He says, this is actually a very interesting one. I'll be quick to say the penalty should fit the crime, and that, by the way, should be the maximum across all sports. Did the penalty, Jimmy Corcoran getting sent off, fit the crime of being adjudged to have moved off his line for a spot kick? Absolutely not. Now, this is the killer line. Now, this may be a yellow card offence, but I'm sorry, Eamon, I think you've just kind of contradicted yourself there. He didn't deserve to get sent off, but it did deserve a yellow card. Of course, Corcoran was already on a yellow card, so I think the punishment fits exactly the crime there in your own belief. But we'll get into that a little bit later on with Jamie. On the back of the Sun then, it's Blues want Poch. This may or may not be the Sky source that they were citing this morning.
Oh, it's in the Sun.
It's in the Sun.
Which is also owned by the same people as own Sky Sports.
So it could be a Sky source that the Sun is citing this morning. We can't be judging things from our seat here. Orange crushed, heartbreak for Ireland under-17s. Kevin O'Brien there as well. You've also got success at last. That's a pun on Ryan Sessegnon. Fulham won 2-0 on the night last night to go through to the playoff finals. And Bubble Decker, Raheem Sterling and Benjamin Mendy there on the left-hand side celebrating Manchester City's title success after 100 points, becoming the first team to notch up 100 points in the Premier League era. Then we've got Allardyce here as well. Everton set to let manager go and target Silva as successor. This is The Guardian, by the way. Sessegnon strikes it right as well there, 2-0 to Fulham. He scored one and he set up one last night in their 2-0 win against Derby County. And then finally, The Telegraph, they lead with Manchester City. City Centurions victory parade. De Bruyne says 100-point mark may never be beaten. He could be right. You've also got £150 million spree. Pochettino demands funds to overhaul Tottenham squads. We're getting mixed messages with Mauricio Pochettino today, and they may not be overly unlinked. They are definitely linked.
What?
The fact that he is trying to get himself £150 million off Daniel Levy, and he is suddenly being linked with Chelsea. Yeah,
it's the only way it's going to work for Spurs. They better get the finger out. Right, we're talking to the under-17s next. Here was Kevin Kilbane's immediate reaction to the shootout last night during the show.
So if it's in normal play and one of the defending players runs in, puts him off across his eye line, there's nothing to indicate that that's a yellow card. Yet that should be a yellow card over a goalkeeper encroaching.
Yeah, arguably it should, but it doesn't change the fact that the goalkeeper gets a yellow.
No, exactly. But yeah, I get that. But this is a needless yellow card. This is a rule that they've not necessarily. I don't think that this is a rule that should be undertaken. I really don't think that.
Maybe.
I
can see the logic, because otherwise a keeper's just going to do it every time.
I don't think that, Joe, myself. I personally don't, because I think the retake is punishment enough. You've got a free shot at goal anyway. You've got a free shot at goal. It's a free shot at goal. That's all it is. If we've seen penalties missed, of course we have, but you're still getting a free shot at goal. That's what you're getting from it. So if the keeper comes off his line, and again, we saw it there tonight with young James Corcoran, his left leg is actually on the line. So yes, his body's off the line, he's already moving to his right-hand side, he guesses, he goes the right way, saves a penalty. But that, in my eyes, that is incredibly harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees with that. Jamie, good morning to you. How you doing?
Hello, how are you?
You've coached a bunch of these players.
Yes, I have, and they are heartbroken, as you would imagine. I can only imagine them waking up this morning. You know, after you play a big football match, if you win the match, you wake up, you bounce out of bed. I can only imagine them all in the team hotel this morning, waking up and trying to think and try and process what's happened last night, because it's incredible.
Hopefully the fact that the whole country is talking about them is something that they get a little bit of comfort from, because it had it had largely flown under the radar that they'd reached quarterfinals. People were talking about it. It was getting brief mentions across the sports news. Now they're the lead story in the back of every newspaper. Sometimes, Michael Conlon, it worked out for him. This is obviously very different. Some of them, this might be the most important game that they ever play, and some of them are actually going to go on and have great careers. So, you've been chatting away to a few of them?
Yeah, like if you look at the campaign they've had, they've won 6 out of 6 in the qualifiers. They've won 2 from 3 in the tournament so far. Obviously, the game last night was a draw, went to penalties, and they ended up losing. And it's the second time in 2 seasons that the 17s have made the European Championship quarterfinals, which is a huge achievement. And the Irish 19s have been doing well as well. But they're just heartbroken and they're devastated, and they're struggling to understand what's happened. And if we look, the rule does say if the goalkeeper comes off his line, it's a yellow card, it's a retake. The ref has applied the rule. The thing that's annoying them and annoying me is that the first penalty, which is saved by the Dutch keeper, Adam Ida misses it. He also has taken a step off his line. It's not as blatant as the one that Jimmy Corcoran took, but he has taken a step off his line. Apparently he was warned twice, and it's just really, really sad for them, really, when you look at where they've come, just to go out like that. Now, of course, it would have gone to sudden death. There's no guarantee they would have won, but we'll never know.
No, it's okay to lose without a sense of injustice. The worst part about it is that we appear to have been diddled again at very senior level at the last minute, not through anything that we've actually done ourselves. Now, maybe they didn't know the rules themselves. Maybe the keeper was flirting with disaster by being too aggressive in coming forward.
Yeah, but you have to think, if you're a keeper, it's natural. Your momentum, if you're trying to save a shot, will move you forwards. Every goalkeeper in the world, when their coach is told dive forwards, you're not going to dive backwards into the goal.
No.
Now, he has taken a big step and he's making a great save, but even just when you're watching last night on RT, listening to Noel King, the 21s manager, I think the words he used were it's scandalous. He couldn't get it. Now, the rule is the rule and the ref has applied the rule, but just to think of these kids waking up this morning, and if you listen to the interview that the head coach Colin O'Brien did yesterday afterwards, he was so calm. He spoke to RT, he spoke to FAI TV, and I can only imagine what it was like in the change room, because I know Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane spoke to them again, and Martin obviously goes onto the pitch and tries to get the ref to say something, but what can you say to the kids at that stage?
Yeah, that definitely stuck out to me as well. The post-match interviews were incredibly classy, very, very much so. I wouldn't have had anywhere near that level of restraint. And I think the main issue I've got, I completely agree with you on the rules, they were applied, but in the penultimate penalty, the Ireland keeper does the exact same thing. He doesn't come off his line as much, but he goes with the exact same motion where he's coming from behind his line to get that forward momentum, as you mentioned. At that point, the referee should probably say to him, listen, you shouldn't be doing this. You do that again, you're getting your second yellow card and you're off. So that's my main issue, allied with the fact that he had previously warned the Netherlands keeper twice.
So you can't be warning people twice, right? You warn somebody once and they do it again, you issue the yellow card. That's the oldest thing in world sport. Yeah. I'm not going to give you a second warning, because what's the point of the first warning?
I think the issue is, though, if the penalty is scored, I don't think the ref is going to give the keeper a yellow, because he hasn't actually impacted the shot being scored. Because the first penalty that was saved, keeper does come off his line a little bit. Ireland scored their next 3, wasn't it, to take it to the final penalty, to take it to sudden death. So I'm not sure if the ref is going to stop it and book the keeper if the penalty has gone in.
I don't know. I mean, if he's continuing to do it, you're actually just waiting until he saves one.
Yeah, which is probably what he was doing to Jimmy Corcoran.
But you talk about the warnings there, fair enough. But why is he giving 2 warnings to the Netherlands goalkeeper without acting on it? I mean, what's the point of the warning? The Netherlands keeper has clearly breached some sort of rule.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I'm angry about this, because how can you give just a one-off yellow card without the previous warning when you're giving 2 to the Holland keeper?
Jimmy Corcoran's a good Meath GAA man, though.
Yes.
That's this is Tommy was bursting with Meath Hill / Meath GAA pride, a single green glove.
And the interesting story about him is he's not the number 1 goalkeeper for this team. He's actually under 16. Yeah. He'll play again next year. The number 1 goalkeeper's name is Cian Clark. They're incidentally the only 2 players in the squad who are based here in Ireland. Cian Clark plays for Shamrock Rovers. He got injured.
Quick look at this. Jimmy Corcoran is now at Preston, scoring 5 goals and 8 points in an under 16 match. April 20th this year, under 16. So he was still under 16 in GAA terms this year, which means he's just turned 16 at some point in 2018.
And he kept a clean sheet for the Irish under 16s the previous night.
5 goals and 8 points from centre forward. So this is Round Towers on Facebook. Today's a bittersweet moment in Round Towers history. Jimmy Corcoran played his last game. Well, you know, it's a long old career, but I mean, it looks like he's got one of those amazing superstar sporting abilities, and he's probably going to be a really good goalkeeper because he's got the ball playing skills as well.
Yeah, and it is possible that he might be able to play for Round Towers again, because of course the next time the Ireland under 17s have a European Championship qualifier for the Championship next year, which are actually in Ireland, he'll be suspended. So he won't be able to play. He's going to get a 1 match ban. He will. He'll definitely get a 1 match ban.
That's a good point, yeah.
He will. And there's so many other really good players in this group. Like, you've spoken a lot this week about Troy Parrott, another lad who I would have coached. The free kicks that he's taken, he's been practicing that with his right foot, opening his foot out, side footing in since he's like 9.
It's unbelievable.
So here's the one from the other night. So this is FAI TV.
Yeah.
It's a pity the angle changed at that point, because you actually kind of lose just how impressive it was.
Yeah.
But it's pretty sensational. And you've seen this a bit, Jamie.
Yeah, it just so shows for him practice makes perfect. I know he spoke during the week over in the UK about, you know, being a young kid playing in Dublin, you know, playing on the street, setting up goals with jumpers, or just setting up goals just a wall in the middle of town and just whacking free kicks.
Where in town is he from?
He's from Buckingham Street.
Okay.
And he played for Belvedere since he was 8 or 9. Had like so many options to go to the UK, like trial after trial after trial. He signed for Tottenham. Here's the free kick he took, I think, in a friendly in Galway against Turkey. That's in the last minute again to secure a 1-1 draw. That's in a friendly in the build up to this competition. He loves the celebration on the knees.
And his buddies too. It's,
yeah, and it's interesting. I think his agent is Harry Kane's brother.
All right.
And himself and Harry, I believe, are quite close, and that's possibly one of the reasons why he went to Tottenham. He went there only in the summer because he just turned 16. His first tournament with the under-17s, a tournament in Italy, he scored 10 goals in 4 matches. Spurs scored 12 goals. He scored 10 of them, including a Panenka penno. A little dink down the middle. I think it was against Juventus. They won 1-0, and he clipped the ball down the middle, age 16, which shows balls.
He's definitely got like the most famous instep in Irish underage history. I mean, that goal last night as well with the instep of that right boot, it's fairly magic.
Yeah, I wonder if Mr. David Luiz is watching, because it's quite similar.
David Luiz, yeah. Tommy was saying Janino Paletta.
Yeah, okay. Similar.
No one's having that, Tommy, turns out. David Luiz is the correct answer there.
And I think as well, one of the good things about this team is for Troy's also under 16. He'll be playing for the 17s again in the Euros next year, if he's not in the 19s. So they've got a really good chance in the competition in Ireland, which is coming up next year. But I can...
How high is the ceiling in general for these 17s players?
Sorry, Janino Pernambucano. That was the Janino that Tommy wanted, not the other one.
Fair enough.
Still not right, but go on.
Yeah, like if we look and, you know, the stats of young Irish players moving to the UK and getting a career are not very good. A lot of them do come home after their first contract. There's a lot of them now who would have played in these Euros 2 years ago, 3 years ago, who are now home playing in the League of Ireland, you know, looking for a new club as such. But there are a couple in every group who you will say, yeah, they've got a chance to go and have careers. And just in the UK, the academies there, it is dog eat dog. But you would like to think, you know, experiences like this, and you're right, Ger, the fact that this story has put them all in the news and people will now know how good they've been in the football matches should help them. And the experience of it might even help them moving forward. But they are in I think, of the 20-man squad, 18 of them are in the UK. They're in, you know, a really, really tough environment where, you know, there's no guarantee at all that they're going to have a career.
No, stuff like this you hope helps and binds them to the Irish setup, and then we can kind of bring them through. And if they are coming home, that there's a safety net of a quality league where players realise that you're not getting spat out by the English system, that you're actually just moving through that part. The next part will be come to Ireland, and hopefully you can go back like loads of players are now doing. How many of them are underage? Is there
I'm not sure in the squad now. I know in the case of the goalkeeper we spoke about in Troy, they're both under 16 as such, so they'll be able to play again next year. The majority of the others, I think there's 5 in the squad, including the captain Nathan Collins, who actually played last year in the Euros.
Okay, right.
And it's ironic, had Ireland got through to the semi-final, they'd been playing against England, who they lost to in the quarter-finals last year. It would have been a great game, Ireland v England. I think it would have been on Thursday of this week again, live on TV, which is, you know, another possibility. But you have to say, they've handled it very well. Like, listening to Colin O'Brien, I did all the way for coaching badges with Colin as my tutor, and he's as calm there as he is with the Irish team and as he was on RT last night. Like, this is only 15 minutes after the game. You know what managers are like. He's been quite calm, although I'm sure it was a different scene, like trying to calm those lads down in the changing room with the high of obviously getting through and the high of equalising. Troy scored a great goal again last night to equalise, and then, you know, for Jimmy to save that penalty. The high of that to the low for him. That was the best moment in his football career ever, saving that penalty. And 10 seconds later, he's on the ground, head in hands, crying. Like,
Now the one thing is, teenagers can recover from stuff pretty quickly.
Of course,
because, like, you know, there'll be something along that's equally important.
Yeah,
it seems, next week.
It seems like Colin's mentality has kind of invaded the dressing room as well. Like Nathan Collins last night, similarly calm.
Yeah, correct. And he's only 16, of course, as well, and is speaking to the media and just said, "Yeah, listen, we did great. We're disappointed. We'll move on." I'm sure maybe he was briefed and said, "Listen, don't say anything because you get yourself in trouble." Sure. There's a piece as well in the Star today saying that Martin O'Neill could himself expect to be hauled in front of the stalwarts and the stewards for what he did, which is incredible to see him actually running on. I was wondering where it was going to end, what he was going to do, and I would also like to see what happened in the tunnel in the dressing room if there was another chance for the coaches, maybe Roy Keane or anyone to speak to the ref, because the ref now himself is infamous or famous, whichever way you want to look at it too.
I mean, the referee applied the rules, but like did it in such a strange manner.
Yeah, I think the one thing as well that people need to understand if they're not aware of underage football, this is the life and the world of these kids. This week was their world. And now you're right, they will move on and they'll have their summer off, they'll go back to the UK, they've got, 18s and 19s and so on, but it's actually their world. And you're right, the rule was applied, it's just the way it happened against Holland, live on TV, their first ever live TV game, and everything that went with it, that's so hard to take for them. Like.
Yeah, it might not be the case for you, or like I know Keith Andrews was talking about this team for a while as well, but for a lot of us, this kind of exploded onto the scene this week. It was kind of like, all right, we're into the business end of a competition here. Has this been the work from the FAI through underage? Is this something manifesting itself, or is it kind of like an unusually talented group of kids?
No, it is. It's a very good group of kids. I think Keith would have actually coached them maybe at under 15 or under 16 a couple of years ago. And the FAI are doing a lot of good work with the underage teams. The Underage League of Ireland might be helping in the years to come as well, with the 15s league is on now and the 17s. And if we look at, the players in this group, I think would be born 2001 and 2002. And the team the year before would be born 2000, 2001, and they made the quarterfinals. The next group coming up have a great chance to make the European Championships, and it is really good. The 19s as well have been in the last 2 Euros and done quite well. So there is good work going on, but the main thing is the players are very good. Yeah. The coaching is excellent and the structures are there, but it's like any other football team. You look at Man City, people talking about Guardiola, brilliant, but he's got very good players. Yeah. And the players is the key, and you have people like Troy and like others, who can, if Troy hadn't maybe scored those couple of goals, we wouldn't be at this stage. So, the players are really good, and that's the key. And hopefully this sets, I think Colin O'Brien said it last night, that there's 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds who are playing football, watching the game on TV going, I'd love to do that in a couple of years. Yeah, and hopefully that's the path for them.
No, good stuff. Jamie, thanks a million. A couple of quick comments for you. Leo Marcus says, daylight robbery, foot was on the line, no infraction, more shite from UEFA refs. The foot was very close to being on the line. It looks like there's like a little sliver of green that might have been preventing it.
You can make the case though, because the picture is kind of blurry at that range.
There was someone last night saying VAR.
Well, if you've got proper VAR, you'll be able to go, foot's on the line, goal, save, penalty, whatever.
But also, every time a keeper takes it half an inch off the line, the VAR will be flashing up going, retake, yellow card, send them off.
Yeah. Maybe if you did have VAR, then they wouldn't bother moving, so...
More score. It'd just be 5-5 in every single penalty shootout.
They have to move though. You have to move.
You can move sideways.
That leap otherwise, like.
Yeah, you can't.
You should be able to. You can jump forward once the ball's kicked. So it's like the starting blocks in the 100 metres race. If you're perfected over a period of time and effort. This is the rule, but why warn the Dutch keeper twice? According to the Irish assistant coach, spoke to the ref and then book our guy. And then Dermot Mullaney says, if both keepers were warned for coming off the line, why did the ref not have one or more of the previous 9 penalties retaken? Instead, for the decisive 10th penalty, he went straight for a card, knowing that our keeper was already on yellow. Yeah.
That's a fair point.
And the yellow for time wasting was harsh.
Dick move. That's that.
Yeah, that's also true.
Right, thanks very much. We're going to move on to GAA now. Owen caught up with the Galway football manager Kevin Walsh after Sunday's win against Mayo in Castlebar. Here's how he got on.
Delighted to say that Galway football manager Kevin Walsh joins us on the line now. Kevin, congratulations on the big win on Sunday. It's obviously a huge win, and we'll know later on in the summer how big the win is in the context of the summer. But from your own perspective, it must be a very, very satisfying one, not only to get one over your local rivals in Mayo, not only to win in Mayo, but also because there was imperfections in the win. So I'm sure that the lads have their feet on the ground going into that Sligo game.
Yeah, I suppose look at it. It's still only the first round of the championship, but I suppose the fact that there's maybe two heavyweights haven't been Division 1, I suppose it probably gathered a lot of momentum in the lead up to it. So the same time, I suppose, as you said, there's loads to improve on that, but the battling qualities were there, which is important. And look, it wasn't. I'm sure there's plenty of flaws in both sides yesterday, really.
Yeah, you mentioned the hype and all the talk about this game going into it. Have you ever seen anything like this in the month of May in the qualifier era in terms of hype going into a championship match?
I suppose, to be honest, we probably didn't see a lot of hype, to be honest. We're just kind of behind the doors trying to get our own side right. So you probably obviously hear people saying there's a lot of hype out there. To be honest, I didn't overly experience it myself, and I think the lads didn't either, to be honest. So I suppose, look at it, it's probably on the Twitters and the Facebooks, which I'm not on, so I probably don't see as much as you guys do.
Yeah, we saw plenty of it anyway, I can assure you that much, Kevin. But even if your players did see it, like even just chatting to a few of them after the game on Sunday, it seems that it's a camp that's not really penetrable to this sort of thing, to any sort of kind of outlandish criticism or anything that might be said on social media or any hype, that there is a good kind of collective mentality there, which isn't necessarily something that you can teach. Yeah,
I suppose maybe over time, I suppose like it's really, that maybe the message is getting across, and it's about ourselves really. And if when you win the matches or lose them, we genuinely have to treat them the same, as in to look and see where we can learn and to try and improve. And I suppose that kind of a mentality we're hoping is hitting home, and it can be oftentimes you're judged by results, but we like to kind of move that a small bit to judge it by performance more than results. Sometimes I think you can get lucky wins and unlucky losses, and it wasn't that when you know that on the Tuesday night you're going to be looking back and keep it realistic as they can. But, I think people now maybe don't be thinking about the outcomes as much as they would in the past. So that's kind of important, just keep the head down and keep learning.
Yeah, like when we've been analysing this game from Sunday over the past day or so, it's kind of been the first half that we've really got our teeth sunk into because of the red card and how that changed the game and how you had to approach the game differently because Mayo approached the game so differently. But the one metric that we can read into from Sunday that's kind of been a constant theme from the league is the lack of goals you concede. You've conceded one goal throughout the entire league and now in the championship. Is that a specific thing you're targeting, or is that just the result of another process within the camp?
Probably a bit of both, to be honest. Within the day, every time there's a goal scored, it's a huge momentum changer for another team. So you'd be hoping not to concede too many at the same time. It's not all about just not stopping goals. We'd be hoping that the other aspects of forward play would be improving as well. So, but it's I suppose it's trying to just get as close as you can to the complete performance, which is a long way away at the minute. But you kind of work on new things every single day. I think maybe sometimes there can be a habit of working on too much because you hear about this and hear about that, and it's about slowly probably getting the smaller things right so that it stays ingrained. And I suppose that maybe it's a slow process, but one that we kind of work in the camp, and as I said, just keep the head down and keep working. And the lads are, in fairness, are doing the best they can on that, and we just kind of try to continue that.
Yeah, that's very much evident on the pitch, what you just mentioned there, the kind of incremental gains, because there's a lot of people, especially from Galway, the likes of Michael Meehan, who we speak to quite often on the show, who's at pains to point out that this isn't necessarily a whole new Galway setup this year. The kind of the toughness, the defensive solidity isn't a new thing. It's just an improved form of Galway this year. And certainly when you look at that defensive structure that we saw on Sunday, which was very, very effective, the one thing that really stuck out to me from that was just how fluid it was, that players could move into different positions. It was almost zonal marking at times, that it was all one unit and everybody was comfortable no matter what little position they had outside the D to stop Mayo plugging the gaps in the middle of the park. Is that something you've worked hard on?
Yeah, it would be, to be honest. We'd work hard on that as well, to get the clarity of what we're trying to do. But at the same time, look at this. I haven't seen it yet, obviously, but there would have been a few gaps there you wouldn't be too proud of at times as well. But look, you're going to have that. Mayo are a quality side. In their own home pitch, and they were obviously, I guess the last 2 years were certainly really up for it. And I thought maybe the game itself then just it was fairly defensive on both sides probably, but that's the way, the nature of it, with the breeze and maybe the sending off and different things happen. But look, I suppose we can only look after our own camp, to be honest, and there's plenty to improve on, to be honest.
Yeah, like I mentioned, the building the defensive structure there. Building on the other end of the pitch has been fascinating as well, and it's something we're starting to become more familiar with in terms of the individuals of this Galway team. Has that been something you've put a lot of thought into in terms of the different facets of your forward line, to have kind of a big man, to have some runners, to have a good free taker in the likes of Barry McHugh, like the different pieces of the jigsaw? Or are you simply just saying to yourself, I'm going to pick the best 6 forwards?
To be honest, it's hard to know at times. Which is, I suppose, maybe for the last number of years, we're trying to develop a squad as much as anything else, and it's in an area now where, to be fair, sometimes you might know exactly which is the best 6. You have to pick people on form as well, and sometimes it'll be opposition or whatever will be there. So, we'd be certainly hoping that we wouldn't be in an area to say that this is our best 6 and that's our best 6 only. I think that lads are fighting at the minute, and that's something we're trying to get across all the time. And you probably saw some of the subs that big impact yesterday. So it's not just your best 6 forwards, but sometimes it's not the best 6 on a given day, or depending on form as well. So they're fighting with each other at the minute, which is important, and as I said, impacts are important as well.
Yeah, you mentioned the subs there. Like, Sean Kelly was the one that stuck out for a lot of us because, as far as I'm aware, it was his first championship appearance, and you throw in the likes of Kieran Duggan, Sean Andy O'Callig and Barry McHugh, as I mentioned a couple of moments ago. It's hard to believe that those lads made their championship debuts on Sunday, because they looked like they've been around the block for quite some time.
Yeah, and I suppose, maybe going back 2 years ago, I think in the same pitch there was 5 more debuts at the time, so there's been a strong turnover over the last number of years, but behind the scenes, these lads are working really hard, and it's the desperate ease and obviously the league. New faces are coming in, and to be fair, I suppose the lads that you have for the last 4 years, it's become a little bit easier that when new fellas come in, that they're also now showing the ropes as well, which probably makes it a bit easier from our side. But I suppose that's where you're looking at the older guys stand up as leaders, not only just on the day of the match, but for the camp in general, to try and get the environment and that type of stuff as good as you can, that people actually want to be part of it and want to stay part of it. And that's with all the other distractions that's going on in the world compared to 20 years ago in our own time, the environment has to be as good as you can get it, so that people just enjoy what they're at as well. And I think there's a lot made out about sacrifices. If someone sees it as a sacrifice, they want to struggle, because to be honest with you, most fellas should enjoy what they're at, and we're just hoping that their own lads, they're all enjoying it. And to be honest, they seem to be at the minute, which is important. And I suppose if you're enjoying it, you're probably learning more. So
yeah, that's very interesting. So are you preaching to, no, not preaching isn't the right word, but are you kind of having conversations with the players about their lives outside of football to ensure that they're happy humans as well as happy footballers?
Look at it, it's awful. It's a known fact that the better person, or the better the person feels about themselves and how life is going, will make you give the chance to perform better. So absolutely, you look at people's circumstances, which is tough at the minute. College exams were right in the middle of this game, which wasn't easy, and little things like that that's going on in people's lives. So we try our best to make that as smooth as we can. But that probably takes a lot of time. But it's probably, as you said, better people make better players.
Yeah, because it seemed that there was almost a worrying trend developing in the GAA a few years ago where, you were a Gaelic footballer and that was going to be the number one priority, whereas it's refreshing to hear from you, but we've also heard from the Dublin camp, like Paul Flynn and Michael Darragh MaCauley have been in the studio just telling us about how the likes of Pat Gilroy and Jim Gavin have been so encouraging to them in terms of their career, in terms of their own personal life, that it seems now the better teams are doing this, and that tide has been stopped, thankfully, and it's going the other way, where finally the GAA is starting to promote these things in people's lives.
Yeah, I think, look, you can, as I said, the distractions that are there, be it other sports becoming more familiar in local smaller areas and stuff like that. So it's about, again, somebody that has to enjoy what they're at, so that they don't see it as a sacrifice. And I suppose, as I said to you, school work comes into that, work comes into that. It can be hard to get the balance, but I think the only way you get the balance is through communication. So we try to keep the lines open as much as possible, and I suppose that's probably where people can schedule their lives a bit better to make time.
You said that the camp doesn't really listen to anything that's going on outside of it. I'm not sure if you've seen any of the punditry around Sunday's game yet, but I just must put this one to you. Tomás O'Shea described Sunday's game as a poor advertisement for football. I'm not sure whether you agree with that. I know you said it was kind of a tight and tense game, but would you say that Sunday's game was a poor advertisement for football?
To be honest, I didn't actually see it yet, but you're going to have those games. I mean, there's been All-Ireland won in the past, maybe going back 15, 16, 17, 18 years ago, 12-9, that kind of stuff. So, it's probably whether it's scores or not, the games will take life of their own, whether there's a sending off or there's a breeze or there's whatever pressure's on, or if people are going to look at that position and have different tactics for that game, and then all of a sudden you come up with, two teams that get together, and you just don't know how it's going to work out, and sometimes it turns into a war of attrition, and the war of attrition really is championship, and while it's not pleasing to the eye sometimes, at the end of the day, you try to do your best on a given day, and sometimes, as I said, if you go out with the two same plans, the two managers, sometimes it can't be the best watching in the world, but then again, what you've got then is kind of a tactical battle, and you've also got championship football where you've got to get stuck in, so, look, if that's what's been out there or been put out there for the media, so be it. Look, we'll be meeting tonight, and we'll just have to look at it again and keep the head down.
Yeah, obviously, like the sending off kind of changed the way Mayo approached the game. They got a lot of bodies behind the ball as well, so that contributed to that. But like, I'm sure it's a positive from your perspective as well that you had that opportunity to try and break down a blanket defence, because you're now one of the best teams in the country, or more importantly, viewed as one of the best teams in the country. So when you come up against a team that perceive themselves to be weaker than your side, naturally you're going to come up against a defence like that again. So in a way, it was a dress rehearsal for coming up against teams that kind of rate you very, very highly.
Yeah, it's I suppose it's another side of what you've got to break down, I suppose. Excuse me. I suppose, as we go further in the competition, and as everybody else goes further in the competition, they'll be trying new things. So, yeah, yesterday was against the Breeze in particular, when there was 40 men behind the ball. It was definitely hard to break down. Having said that, that's what we've got to get used to. And as you said, if teams go out that way with us as well, we have to get better at that. So we'll analyse that again and see how we improve that as well.
Yeah, and it is, of course, on to the next game. It will be kind of, as most people in a neutral perspective will say, the hardest way to win a Connacht Championship, from Galway's perspective anyway, to beat Mayo, Sligo, and potentially, if you beat Sligo, potentially Roscommon in the final. You would say that is the most difficult way to do it. So it's clearly on to the next one from your perspective. You said you're meeting tonight. Sligo's up next. You're going to be asked a lot over the next couple of weeks, whenever you do more media before the Sligo game, about your time at Sligo. What did you personally learn from your time there, and how has it made you as a manager?
I suppose it's like everything else when you start off any job. I suppose that's 10 years ago this year. So you start off any job, of course you're going to win, maybe with not a massive amount of experience, but it's important, I suppose, what kind of a team you surround yourself with as well. You have to have visionaries there as well, and that you try to evolve all the time. But Sligo, I had some good days in Sligo. Obviously, it's almost 5 years ago now. So times have changed. Football has changed. The way people analyse games has changed, and I suppose we have to change with that. But with Sligo, it's the only game we're thinking of now. Very, very impressive over in London. So that's not easy either. And I think it's about a 10-point win there. So look, we just have to knuckle down now after we analyse this game tonight, and just pack it up and move on to 3 weeks' time.
Well, good luck with the analysis, good luck with the preparation, and very best of luck for the rest of the summer. Kevin Walsh, Galway Football Manager, thanks a million for joining us this morning.
All right, it's time for us to talk GAA. Michael Darragh MaCauley's here. How are you?
I'm great.
Are you impressed by our new surrounds? You've been checking to see if we had any good memorabilia.
Yeah,
so we've got a
fierce, fancy, yeah.
Andy Lee belt.
Oh, Andy's a good fella. Any of those basketball signed or anything?
Do you want to get a marker there?
you can do better than me now, but I was expecting like LeBron on it or something.
Yeah, we've got no LeBron yet at the moment.
Okay, well we need to work on that, but it's nice.
Do you keep memorabilia? Is that something you have?
No, and it's a real guy thing now. No one swaps jerseys or does any of that stuff anymore.
Why not?
I don't know.
You're supposed to respect your jersey so much that you can't give it away.
It's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Like, is that? No, do other teams swap jerseys?
I just reading last week, Tomás O'Shea.
He regrets not swapping. Diarmuid Connolly asked him to swap a jersey and he wouldn't swap it with him.
Yeah, it was a provincial, interprovincial.
Was it the Interpro?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I can't remember. And that was his one regret. because he was like, oh, I never swap jerseys. I presume it's when you get to the stage in your career where it's like, oh, free shit is cool, where you probably want to trade it, and then after a while the free stuff just becomes a little bit of a let. Yeah, exactly. And then it's kind of like,
Owen likes his junkets, by the way, so that's where he's speaking about himself here.
Like, I mean, I went on a Tour de France junket last year. I don't even cycle, but I've just been wearing the Skoda leggings all around the house all the time. That's all I do.
Yeah.
That's not what they're called, is it?
Skoda leggings?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think of any. Padraig Harrington, I used to like. He's like a neighbour of mine, so we used to like just call into his house when I was in primary school.
Right.
So we were allowed to leave. I used to like run home at 12:30. Like, we're not leaving primary school now, but we're allowed to leave and run home. I used to put on my little microwave pizza and eat it. But then sometimes we used to go and call into his house, just like, hi, it's Padraig here. And like he was never there. But his dad, like, God rest him, was so nice. And he brought us into the house and all.
Right, cool.
And he was like Padraig had this, like, shouldn't be ratting him out here now, but he had this this putting green in his house, in his father's house, and he where he had maybe 50 putters lined up. His dad came in, let us use them and all, and then gave us a jersey, a cartel shirt of his. I wasn't even a big golfer or anything, and a signed, or a ball that he used when he won the World Cup doubles things.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice one. Yeah, and then I lost them both.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, I gave the shirt to my dad, but the ball got put in with a big thing of golf balls, and it's gone. So
you're not in any way sentimental about any of the stuff that you've...
Yeah, no. You start off being sentimental. The first ever thing you get with a Dublin crest on it, you're like, I am going to be buried in this. This is going to, I'm going to get married in it, and I'm going to be buried in it, and this is going to be my piece. And then you get given another piece, and that kind of drifts off a little bit. Yeah, and then it kind of happens your first ever All-Ireland final jersey, first ever everything, and then it just, it's just another piece of gear. Yeah, it's all good, yeah.
Any basketball stuff? Do you have any American basketball stuff?
Yeah, I had a jersey signed by Latrell Sprewell.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, do you remember him?
Yeah, he punched that guy in the crowd. No, he throttled the guy, didn't he?
Yeah. And he was also famous for making, do you remember I was in Pimp My Ride? Do you remember the spinners? Do you remember the wheels that you stopped and they keep spinning?
Yeah.
He made them.
That was his job.
That was he invented them or something so they were the Latrell spinners. I don't know what ever happened to him. Yeah, I remember he punched the dude. So I have a signed jersey. I lost that as well.
Right.
So yeah, not
I
too
see
good.
a pattern emerging here.
Right. Yeah. It's fair, yeah.
We were obviously talking through the week about LeBron and the quality of play that he's currently exhibiting, and Owen reckons that he's better than MJ pretty much because he never saw MJ play.
It's kind of like, the way millennials ruin everything. Millennials have now ruined MJ is what I'm starting to feel on Twitter.
They ruined friends as well, but go on,
yeah, without question, yeah. So I genuinely believe that LeBron James is the best player to ever play basketball, and I can see you grimacing right here.
This is from your Instagram a couple of years back.
My one Instagram ever tweet. What do you call it? Are you asking me, is he better?
Well, I'm just putting it... No, I'm just telling you that if you believe Michael Jordan's better than LeBron James, then you're wrong.
Just the aggression in here. It's tough. It's like if you what are you going to count on? Are you counting on the rings? Are you counting on the play? I don't know. MJ was just do you know what I mean? I used to dream about him, as creepy as that was. I used to be out my back garden, imaginary, getting aggressive, playing an imaginary Michael Jordan in front of me,
because you would have just caught the last couple of years.
Yeah,
ago, right?
I had this weird one for you that I'll tell you. Right, we had this the way Americans latch on to their family heritage and stuff. So we had these long lost American cousins, and I don't know, hopefully they don't watch off the ball. Right? These long lost American cousins that we had met or phone or something, and then they got in contact with us and they were can we come stay with you? And we were oh, okay, we don't really know you, but maybe and I was whatever, I was 8, 9, 10 kind of ballpark, and they came and stayed with us, and I think it was meant to be a bit of a strange day. They like basketball, so I remember kind of playing with them, so that was all good. Turns out your man was the junior coach of the Chicago Bulls. This is 94, 95, and the big time, and I was I didn't even know if he was spoofing at the time or whatever, but we used to just be out back and he was showing us drills, and his son was my brother's age, and they'd be out playing at my back garden, and we'd all be playing at the back garden, playing the basketball the whole time, and I think the stay wasn't too smooth as far as I can remember, but they left, right, and then about a month or two afterwards, the exact size of a dishwasher arrived at the front door, this size, a meter squared, and arrived at the door, and we opened it, and it was packed to the hilt with Chicago Bulls gear and randomly a birdhouse. a birdhouse and Chicago Bulls gear, and it was all the three-peat stuff. So it was all like they made a lot of stuff for the three-peat and stuff. So like I was just clobbered in three-peat gear, like, and it was like no better gear in the world to me at the time. Three-peat gear, and I don't even think we even put up the birdhouse. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna flashback of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's like I should track down that dude's name. I don't even know his name. I wonder if I could find out, like, is he still with them or what's the story? Yeah,
that'd be a long career if he was, but maybe like GM of some other team.
Yeah.
All these years, I'm
gonna go to work on that. Yeah,
or maybe that's the reason they're shit now is because he left.
Maybe he was like actually Phil Jackson's like. Yeah, I'm in the middle of reading his book actually, The 11 Rings. I read that one.
Yeah, I started it.
Yeah. Is there a reason?
A lot.
Is there a reason that we haven't finished that?
It's very dense. I'm like, the bit about his family was really interesting.
Yeah, so like I bought it because I was like interested in him as a person, and the kind of different aspect that he took to coaching, and to like the fact that he was kind of into
Buddhism.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And there's more kind of rounded approach and philosophy to it, and that's what I wanted to get after. He talks a lot about the intricacies of the 70s Knicks team. I'm not that interested in it.
I wasn't interested in that either.
So I haven't read it off, but it's there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty dense. I also think that maybe it's the best version of him.
He makes himself out as being surrounded, but like you have to be a hard ass at that level. Like there's no way you can't be like. So you have to be able to make some tough decisions. But he's an interesting character.
Yeah. Definitely would like to get him on the show. It's one of those kind of
work on that one.
Yeah. The other thing that I want to talk to you about, which you mentioned immediately upon arriving in here, was Tupac, and how you're now Tupac's official booster in Ireland.
No, me and Pac are going way back at this stage. So
you mentioned this in an interview one time. You did
this is like, I didn't think that was like between me and like 6 people, and like someone tweeted about it, and I was like, it was just made for a headline. So that's the reason I got out. Like there was no. Sorry, go on.
Well, actually, I didn't really want to talk about Tupac. All I want to talk about is Post Malone, because, Post Malone is the greatest artist in the history of music right now, which I'm sure you'll definitely agree with.
No, I'm not giving that any of my time. I did, like, even today alone, like, people keep talking about this dude, and I don't want to be, like, so some of my, like, mates are real, like, real stuck in their ways, like no new music is good, like nothing will ever beat other old music and stuff, and I'm like, I'm more open-minded, and I try to keep on top of it, or try and listen to new music and stuff, but your man Post Malone keeps coming up. He's very like, I don't know, like I'm not feeling it, like. Yeah,
like there's being open-minded on the one side, and there's being a fan of Post Malone, which is just stupid. On the other hand, like, I mean, anybody who's a fan of Post Malone, like, it probably just isn't worth our time, really.
Yeah, fair. Like, I don't know enough about the dude, to be honest, to comment on him, but he doesn't feature heavily in my life at the moment.
Yeah, keep it that way, I think. I think we've got the Tupac headline coming up next as well, so just so you know exactly what an unbelievable storm this was. There you go.
Oh, that's classic.
I needed to be wearing a do-rag. That wasn't fair. Like I needed to be wearing that. Like there's everyone's player. That's all ridiculous, isn't it? So yeah.
Was Tupac one of your biggest teachers growing up?
Like,
you listen to an album a lot, or a certain.
Yeah, like do you know what I mean? Who are your biggest teachers that you remember? Like, do you know what I mean? Like I remember like some of my primary school teachers and some things that they did, and it was the reason I got into primary school teaching. I was like, that was amazing, the influence that guy had on my life. I was like, I'd love to have that influence on a kid, and that's why I got into primary school. But like what do you remember? Like you don't really remember like the Rivers in Leinster and stuff after a while. You remember some of the other bits that they instilled in you. And Tupac was I was just obsessed with him as a kid, yeah. But it was around that time, do you know what I mean? Like that was around the 94, 95, 96 time.
Yeah.
Like Chicago Bulls, I was a product of my environment at the time. Environment wouldn't be the word. I was a product of my time. And I was just very influenced by American culture at the time. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And like, answer me this. Someone asked me about this, about why on the Ireland Tupac versus Biggie, yeah? Why did Ireland all take Tupac's side?
I'd say California Love got more play in this part of the world than anything that Biggie was doing, and so everybody kind of thought Biggie was either impenetrable or inaccessible, or that's my random off the top of my head theory. If I had a little bit of time to think about this.
Yeah, like so it was thrown to me, like, and then I tried to like shoot the breeze with one of my mates about it, like, and like we like so much so, like I remember one of my a lad in my class who was like more Tupac ahead than me, and he wanted to like move to like the west coast of Ireland. That's a true story. I won't name and shame him, but he wanted to move to the west coast, like, 'cause he was like, and he wanted to like sell anything that ended to the east coast, all this ridiculous stuff. But we're kind of thinking that he's like, Tupac was more kind of like fighting the system, kind of like. I know he kind of contradicts himself in his later years as an artist, but like he like was kind of like more kind of like real, like against the oppression stuff, and then we were kind of have that colonial past that we were kind of fighting from. Yeah, that kind of 800 years buzz. That was the only kind of like half kind of bit of knowledge that I kind of scraped out of that shooting the breeze with my mate. Yeah,
but when you think about it, there would have been like 3 people in Ireland who were playing it and had access to it, and there would have been MTV showing videos.
Yeah,
and that's it. There was no. Maybe you could write away for magazines that would take a year to arrive from America.
Source magazine, yeah.
Was that what you were getting? I don't know, like, or maybe Tower Records would have had some stuff that.
No, like it was all MTV, wasn't it? Like, back in the Kinstein's days, now watching this, they won't know about that MTV Select. Richard Blackwood.
He's like, what's this stuff you're talking about?
He's like, who are you?
The lads clicking.
My question is, like, was this actually the popular thing to do at the time? Because I mean, if you're there in 94, 95, 96. I'm sure everybody's like, Oasis is a thing, or else Blur is a thing, and we can have those conversations. And it's like, no, Tupac is a thing. They're like, no, screw you, Oasis, Blur is a thing.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a crazy Oasis head. Like, I've seen him loads of times, and I'll always take Blur's head. I know about the lyrics and stuff. I know it all. I've had that argument. But they had, it was the basketball. The basketball was the biggest thing in my life at the time. So like I was looking at MJ and all those sort of guys, and then like trying to get any sort of information. Like I was reading, what was the basketball magazine? Is it XXL? I used to always get that. Like I used to like make my trip to Easton's to get my XXL magazine, and that would all have like all those guys giving their interviews, their 20 questions, whatever, and they say who you're listening to, and then you know what I mean, like that would be my kind of gateway to it. So
what was your gateway to basketball in the first place?
My gateway to basketball was my skill. My skill was just a guy called Ger O'Brien, like single-handedly like created like year after year of international basketball players. So we had like up there, like it was him that just started a big basketball program in school. Right. We managed to be good at Gaelic football, and we've lots of like Steinsy and Harrington come out of that school, and a few others. He was just push basketball. So we played it every morning. We played basketball for an hour before we came to school, right, and then stayed for an hour nearly every day after school. So like I've put the breakfast thing into our school as well. But yeah, so that was it. Like, and my brother played a bit as well. So that's where I got something out of it.
It's interesting when you say that. What was your gateway into rap? And you say basketball, and everybody's like, yeah, fair enough. I don't think there is a sport like basketball that's so culturally ingrained.
Yeah, no. Like I suppose, I don't know, the culture thing's huge. Like, you know, the Fab Five documentary and stuff, like, and they really they defined the culture at the time, that they were just like, no, that's not what we're about. We're bringing our culture into the game, like, and like the way they dress and the way they acted and the music as well. It's a huge part of that way of life, yeah.
And it seems to have maintained right to the current day. Like, a lot of sports have lost their sensibilities of the 90s for sure, whereas I think to a certain extent anyway, basketball has kind of kept that. I mean, there is a certain sense of individual identity for sure, even just in fashion, for example. Like, the walking into the dressing rooms is a theatre in itself.
It's great, isn't it? Like someone sent me a photo of CP3 and the boys. Yes, did you see them? They were looking fresh. They're all wearing the hats and the multi. I was taking notes. So yeah, I'm gonna be walking out of a Leinster quarter final now.
we need to start doing that when the bus pulls up in Croke Park. That, you know, there's
like that should be so loud. How much more interesting would that be? Like, if we're allowed to wear our own gear, and then we have our gear set up, walk in there like badass suits and stuff. Like, I'm well up for that. Like.
Never going to happen though.
That's never going to happen, because we have to wear O'Neill's till the day we die.
Or just tell the bus driver to stop 200 yards earlier and just get out of the bus earlier, and I don't know, just make an eye contact with the camera or something. Do something that's not fashion based. Yeah. There's definitely an idea there.
Now we need to spread our wings. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Ridiculous, like that. Everyone is wearing the same tracksuit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, let's get a bit of identity about this. We're not trying to be fashion queens. Like, it's just like, come on, let's open.
Seriously, I agree with you, right? And I do think that there's a weird Irish cultural fear of anybody showing a sign of difference. It's really kind of autistic in the way they hate change. Like, it's so, I don't want to say backwards. It's so like, but it's just the cogs of the GAA often move so slowly, and so people are afraid of losing their little grasp of power, that it's nothing changes, and like, I know, like, and there is a lot of forward-thinking people, but it's just, just certain things that like I think one of the biggest gripes to me is how the game is marketed. I use the example of like you don't need to like Gaelic football to enjoy a match, but I think you do.
I think you do. Like if you don't enjoy Gaelic football, you should still be able to come and enjoy the performance that is put on, the show that is put on. Like we went to a basketball game, went to a Celtics game with a girlfriend, and like she couldn't spell basketball. She had no interest, like literally no interest. And we were like up in the bleachers, like there were crap seats, and they were like. She like had the best time ever. Like she was able to go in, like get her like hot dogs and nachos. Music came on. They shut down the lights in the crowd. Everyone came out with this big like handshakes. Like steam came up as they ran out. They all like half time came. They all fired T-shirts up. Like, and she was like enthralled by the experience. She couldn't tell you if you paid her who won. Like no interest, but she had a great experience. Yeah. I think that needs to be brought into the GAA in a big way. Like I think we need to sell experience. I had to like. I remember like we brought like a lot of foreign people to a game last year, like, and then, like it wasn't a great game, like, and then you had to apologise to them. I was like, that wasn't good enough. That wasn't a good performance. Like, like half time of the All Ireland final. Do you know what I mean? Like that should be like a showpiece. Like we don't have to go full Homer Simpson on it and like and fill it with water and you know what I mean. But like you can put on like more than like just a. Like a bear on stage, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, let's go at it. Like, is that a fair point?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that the marketing campaigns should target the halftime All-Ireland football final with their new ads, and everybody should tune in and go the way they do for the Super Bowl. It wouldn't cost that much. Yeah, you could easily ring fence it, and suddenly you have the brands all talking about it. And and like look, I'm all about the kids getting their chance to play at halftime. When little girls in my class got a chance to play at halftime last year, and that was great, amazing experience for her. And like I'm all about that. But like the GAA is great in that like nearly every child in Dublin gets to play in Crow Park at some stage when they're growing up these days, and. I just think for that one in particular, like let's start marketing the sport a bit better and kind of put it out there. As like it should be at an international standard. Like why isn't U2 playing there? Like, do you know what I mean? Why isn't it at that level? Like that's absolutely laughed upon to say like the U2 will play that. But why not? Like you could easily, if it's not half time, it could be the half hour beforehand, where in between the minors and or whatever game they're going to play.
Or make it like all the like the tailgating and stuff. I know we've all these alcohol issues and stuff, but like a festival, make an event of it, like, and like no one does sports like the Americans. Yeah. Like and they know how to sell sports and how to enjoy their sports. And
they tailgate when the weather's really bad. Like, and we're talking about during the summertime, we could actually do that kind of thing.
They take in the snow and they're all like sitting there like their hot water balls.
It gets better in the snow apparently.
Oh, does yeah.
I think it's a very Irish thing though to kind of say, sure, it's all about the game. If you do anything else, it's going to take away from the game. When in fact, it's no. Everything you add to it will just enhance your experience of the entire day. The game will still be the thing that gets the biggest cheer, but it is possible to cheer for something else at a different time of the day. Enjoy your halftime. It's not just about focusing on this very almost holy thing that is obviously going to be the centrepiece of the day.
Yeah, no, big time. I'm all about that, and I think like it's particularly in Dublin now. I think we have forward-thinking people, and like I've talked to them about that, and like they find it difficult to kind of get things moving. So I don't know what the answer is, but I just kind of I think there's definitely scope to kind of make it
you know that now that you've mentioned it, it'll become a thing. This is you want that tailgating half time. You want U2 to play. It's your new Tupac. I hope you're ready for that.
I'm not as well versed on U2 as Tupac.
You should actually say on the record now, Biggie was the best inspiration of my life, and then that becomes the headline, and then everybody just gets confused as hell.
I should balance it up. Like I'm pro Biggie. I'm up there.
I'm a little bit obsessed with Gaelic footballers and hurlers who are teachers, because there's definitely a bunch of people who did it just to play football or hurling, but it doesn't sound to me like that's what you did.
No. People 100% do make life choices because of football, and football probably does affect a lot of people's lives in college and their work schedule. I went back to, I was kind of like, I didn't know what I wanted to get into it when I was in college. I kind of did an arts degree and kind of got through that and stuff. But I did really want to become a teacher, and it was purely based, as I said, on teachers who influenced me. And I think it's cool to have an influence on a child like that. So I've had no I've been offered all the sales jobs and all that sort of crack, and it was no interest to me. I couldn't sleep at night doing that stuff. So they I had to go back doing the hard way. I had to go back to do the leaving cert, do my Irish and all that sort of stuff. It's a tough gig, and you'll find out fairly quickly once you're in the classroom whether it's for you or not. It's going well.
So that's good to hear, because you do definitely feel like there are some managers who are kind of like, you should just do this for a couple of years, we'll win our All Ireland, and after that you can move into something else like that.
I don't like. I think only from an intercounty point of view, like Jim and Pat have both been very accommodating, and they know that our exams come first, and like they never try and pressure you. And I think there are other managers that would say, look, we have a game that day, like you can exams won't be there forever, kind of thing. Whereas both Jim and Pat have been both very like, get your exams, come back to us, because like they know that if I'm sweating over an exam, and I fail this or whatever, like it all leads on to my performance. Like you can nearly tell if a fella is doing badly in exams about how he's playing on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think both of the lads, like I couldn't compliment them more on that side of it. In fairness, but yeah, like at 100%, there's like 100% lads go back to do college courses, to do masters and stuff that they don't have a real interest in, but it facilitates their lifestyle as a footballer. Yeah,
it's kind of it's like. They should be using that time to do stuff they want to do, and actually taking the advantage of having access to career guidance and career advice that might be slightly better than most people get. I think that actually it's something the GAA could start looking into, is like, oh, we will help you to become a better player at the end of your career. That's what we're in return for everything you're giving us. We're going to help you find the thing that you're good at and like and want to spend time at.
The GPA have been good at that. Like in fairness to them, and they have career guidance guys there who've been very good, and they've helped myself and a lot of other people who I know in that regard. So like I definitely have to give them a big up on that. Yeah, like, but like, it's look when you're kind of coming out in your early 20s, and
all you want to do is play football.
People are just shining this big holy grail, shiny light of intercounty football at you, like, and then like life in your 30s, 40s, 50s is like this small little glowing thing in the background, where you have this big shining light in front of you, and that's all anyone talks. No one even talks to you about this thing. No one even cares what you're going to do in college. It's like, what's this? What's going on here? What's happening here? So like it's like there's nobody like that's why people put all the focus and emphasis into that. Like, so
have you got that balance right now at your own level? Like, do you have the context of what the future is going to be like, and actually you can live enough in the moment to still be good at football?
I think so. I think I've gone better at it. I think it's easy to get kind of self-obsessed with it, but it's kind of hard. Like, you kind of have to find that balance. Let's go back to some rap analogies. But like Jimmy Iovine, like you saw the Defiant Ones, I presume, did you?
No,
just the Defiant Ones. Come on, lads. So it's the new the Dr. Dre documentary about how to set up beats, and it's amazing. Like, it's all like they go through all the history of everyone they've signed, like from NWA. I'm such a hip hop head here. Like, I'm not okay. Like, I was a Brit hop head at some stage. Anyway, but they had so they go through the whole history, the NWA, the everything, all the way up to like Eminem and all the newer lads and everyone in between. But like Jimmy Iovine is the main dude behind Def Jam. He's the one who signs the deal with Dr. Dre. Like, and I suppose like the biggest thing I nearly got out of it, like I kind of knew a lot of the other stuff, was like Jimmy Iovine's work ethic. He was just like, he did all the stuff for Tom Petty, all the stuff for Bruce Springsteen. Like, it was amazing. But like his work ethic was off the charts. Like, just work, and then when he's finished work, he works, and when he sleeps, he works. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And like every kind of like successful, now you hear about all the successful heads that they're just like, they're not necessarily that good at what they do. They're just machines, and they work so hard. But like his ex-wife was there, like, and his ex-wife was like, oh, I had to break up with him. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I had to.
Too hard.
Like, well, it wasn't like she had nothing against him. She seemed to still like him. It's like he was just crazy. Like, he was obsessed with his work, and he was like, now he's multi-billionaire, and like, you have to judge whatever you judge success on. Like, but I think that's what. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on. Like you have to become obsessive. Like, and you are gonna have at this level, you're gonna fall out with your mates. Like, a fella recently over couldn't make a good mate's wedding, and like it's not good. And the girlfriend's gonna be annoyed because you can't make this dinner, and these struggles happen. In saying that, it's not all doom and gloom. Like, I'm not like, no one is going to our head, and we're here to play because we love playing. But that's what's going on. Yeah. So.
And in a weird way, is being out of the team a little bit not the worst thing that happens to you at some stage in your career, where you're like, okay, well, I need to learn some perspective on this, or is that the worst thing that can possibly happen to you when you put all that time and effort in, and you're like not necessarily starting games that you feel you should be?
Well, look, it's tough. Last year was a strange circumstance when I was coming back from injury and stuff. Like, so like it was what it was, and I got myself there, but I got myself there too late. And yeah, look, it gives you perspective. Yeah, 100%. Like, I suppose.
Does it make you bitter, and you use that as your motivation? Like, a little bit of both.
Like maybe a bit of both. Like, I didn't finish like I wanted to finish. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, maybe if it was my first year in the team or something, maybe. But it's not. I've been around. I've played enough All-Ireland finals to know I want to play in them, and I don't want to sit there watching them. So it's not a bitterness thing. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't have wanted anything more than for Dublin to win that game.
Yeah.
But it's not the script that I would have wrote.
But even to get back into like...
Yeah, no, of course it does. And you have to use like all that, like all the hard work they put into last year. Like I didn't get to use it. Like so I put it into my basketball, and then I hopefully put it into this year, and it rolls on. So like it's yeah, I suppose it's kind of how lads want to use their motivation and stuff, but yeah, that's the way it goes. Yeah,
you're not finished. Like it's clear you're not finished, and players who have had the success that you've had and who've reached the heights that you've had could easily have used last year as an excuse to slip away and decide, well, okay, there's loads of other people here now who are going to take my place. I'm happy enough with what I've done. But you clearly didn't decide that, and I'm basing this after your league campaign. So you still want to be here.
Yeah, like 100%. Like there's like the fickle nature of this thing is that like I can be literally trip out here in the morning, like as I'm walking out, like and like I know this, like I can't hit you with all the cliches, one step at a game, one game at a time and all that sort of stuff. But like if you're going for it, you just have to give it everything. You just have to like go all in and become a little Jimmy Iovine. Like just that has to be done. Like, and like I kind of thought about that. There was a session in January. And it was January, like, and we were only getting into it, like, and I was like lacing my boots, and it was lashing rain, and I started like in my head, I just started moaning. I was like, Jesus, do I want to? And I actually I just had a real self-check. I was like, no, actually, well, hold on a second, like this is January, and I'm kind of having that little self-doubt. I was like, no, like you get like the self-talk part of it is everything, and I was just like, no, I have to like just, if I start moaning in January, like I'm gone, like I won't do anything. Like, so I was like, I kind of made a distinctive choice to be like, no, like I'm here because I want to do something. Like,
yeah, and your form's pretty good at the minute.
Yeah, look, I feel good. So like. Injury is everything. Like, do you know what I mean? If Lewis Hamilton,
outside people don't understand that. You get injured, you don't play well, suddenly you're out of a team because it's really competitive. Or if anybody, and I'm not talking just about you, but it's suddenly like, oh, he's not the player he was because you're not 22 anymore. Like,
no, like the numbers got nothing to do with it. But like, do you know what I mean? If Lewis Hamilton's car isn't driving, it's breaking. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to be getting the scores he was. So, and it's no age thing. I just had a few free kind of impact things, but I'm good to go. Like the basketball helped me in a big way in the off season, kind of keep myself taking over, and then you kind of roll on to the league then a lot easier, and then you have a decent league, you can kind of roll into the championship a lot easier. So look, I haven't broken a fingernail this year, and I just kind of need to. Who knows what the summer lies ahead, but you kind of need to keep yourself in good form and then give yourself the chance of performance.
Yeah, well listen, best of luck with it. Thanks very much for joining us.
So,
who else should we be listening to if we're not listening to?
Post Malone. You definitely should not be listening to.
Post Malone. We get off. I'm getting too much of a hip hop head these things. So I'm going to shout out the new Dublin singer-songwriter Dermot Kennedy. Have you heard of him?
No.
Oh, Dermot Kennedy, check him out.
I've come across his name, I haven't listened to him.
Oh, he's very good. You can just kind of let it play, like. Yeah. Reggie Snow, if you're going to go Irish hip hop, yeah, he's killing.
Sounds good. There you go.
Yeah, brilliant stuff there from Michael Darragh MaCauley. He was in studio with us last week, and if you're just joining us, you'll be able to catch the full interview on youtube.com/offtheball, and we'll have the podcast up in the next half an hour or so as well. He was in studio with us last week, but thanks to Fanta, and Fanta Sandstorm is back with a bang for 2018, inviting the most adventurous thrill seekers across Ireland to test their limits on the 5K, I should say, beach run. Fanta Sandstorm will take place at Dublin's Dollymount Strand on the 9th of June and Kerry's Ballyhag Beach on 14th of July. Tickets are on sale now and they'll only cost you €15. Check out hashtag Fanta Sandstorm on social media for further updates. Just a couple of comments on Michael Darragh MaCauley there. Brian O'Donovan was in touch to say that if you want entertainment, go to the cinema or a gig. American sport is all about squeezing as many bums onto seats as possible. If you had all those extras at a GAA game, you'd completely lose the atmosphere and the whole point of being at the game in the first place. Rossa Kelleher then says, I'd have to disagree with Michael Darragh MaCauley there. It's about the sport, not the bells and whistles. American sport is all about the money, hence all the additional tomfoolery. And then the final comment for now is from Ronan E. Murphy, who agrees with Michael Darragh MaCauley. Just because the GAA is an amateur organisation does not mean its presentation needs to be dry. The match will always be the match. What goes on outside of 70 minutes of play won't change anything, so it may as well be exciting. You can continue to tweet us, of course. We'll read them out tomorrow morning at Off The Ball or at Off The Ball AM. And that is indeed where we conclude proceedings for this morning. We're back live tomorrow morning, as always, from 7:45 AM. Tonight, though, on News Talk from 7 o'clock and across all our social platforms, the lads are going to be talking to Brian Gavin about the troubles in the Offaly football clash. And Irish cricketer Kevin O'Brien will join the team as well. Hopefully a big day for him and his teammates out at Malahide, which gets underway at around 11 a.m. this morning. It's free entry for under 16s if there's anybody without school today. Waterford hurler Austin Gleeson will also be on the show this evening. Much more, of course, after 7 o'clock. We'll chat to you tomorrow morning from 7:45 a.m. Good luck for now.
OTB AM. In association with Air. Get Air Sport free with Air Broadband.